If you are a real estate investor or you want to be a real estate investor and you want to get money and funding, as in unlimited money and funding for your real estate deals, don't go anywhere because I'm getting ready to plug you into the money. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Real Estate Investing with Jay Conner. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, and also the host of the show here today. I want to give you a special welcome, especially if this is your very first time joining us here on the show. On the show, we talk about all things related to real estate investing, from single-family houses to commercial, to land, to self-storage, to you name it. And if you've been tuning into the show, you know that I've had amazing guests here on the show, and today is no exception. But before I introduce my very, very special friend and guest, I've got a free gift for you for just tuning in here on the podcast. I just recently released my brand new book, which is titled Where to Get the Money Now. Where to Get the Money Now. And you can get this book for free. The subtitle of this book is How and Where to Get Money for Your Real Estate Deals Without Relying on Traditional or Hard Money Lenders. This book was just in the top on Amazon, but you don't have to spend $20 to get this book. In fact, I will send you the book for free. I am going to ask you to spend just a couple of bucks to be totally transparent for shipping and handling. But you can go to www.jayconner.com/book, B-O-O-K, and we will rush you the book right out. Again, that's jayconner, jayconner.com/book. Well, I am so excited today, folks, to have with me a very, very dear friend that I've known now for a number of years. He is a brilliant real estate investor. In fact, he has been a self-employed real estate investor now for over 25 years. And he actually started this career way back at the young age of 23 years old when he read that way back then famous book called Nothing Down by Robert Allen. Well, my friend and guest, he's purchased way over 2,000 houses now in and around his hometown of San Antonio, Texas. And listen, folks, he is a high school graduate, but he never stopped learning. In fact, books and CDs and webinars and seminars are and were his classroom after high school. Well, today he specializes and has for years in owner financed properties and owner financing properties to people that have been left behind by traditional lending institutions. And he also gives new life to properties and houses that may scar the neighborhood. And I tell you, folks, this is going to be one of the most fascinating guests and experts that you have ever heard here on the show. You are about to learn a lot from my good friend, Mitch Stevens. Mitch, welcome to the show.
Wow, no pressure here, huh?
No pressure, Mitch, no pressure. How you doing?
Hey, look, this guy looks like this. Can you go figure?
But hey, look, hey, Mitch, now you're looking fantastic. I mean, it's just been within the last couple of years, you lost like 40 or 50 or more pounds. And it's like, you like transformed your life, right?
Yeah, I quit smoking and drinking after 40 years on the same day. Just decided I'd had enough. By the way, I just was being held back by my vices. But quite frankly, they were occupying a lot of my time. And I just had enough. And I published my story, how I quit drinking and smoking and took control of my mind and my weight and my life. About 38 pages. If anyone just wants to know how I did it, no patches, no therapists, no doctors, although there might have should have been, because, you know, just a little warning, if you've been drinking a lot in your whole life, don't just stop cold turkey because it could kill you. I didn't know that until people started sending me emails. But you know, I just, no disaster, no car wreck, no divorce, no tragedy. I just had enough. And I was, you know, looked at myself in the mirror. Turned 60 this year. And I said, you know, if I keep going the way I'm going, I'm already going downhill. or I can make some changes and I can have another good, 10, 15 really vigorous years, on into my mid 70s maybe. What do you want to do, Mitch? And so I opted to have 15 more years of vigor, and I changed what I was doing, and then that led to working out, and then that led to, well, maybe I ought to change what I eat, and then I lost 55 pounds, and then, cost me a fortune in clothes, but, I went from size 36 waist to size 28.
Woo, mercy. That's amazing, Mitch. Well, now the ebook that you wrote, tell everybody how they can get that ebook.
Oh yeah. It's 1000houses.com/enough, all lowercase.
So www.1000houses.com/enough.
Enough. Yeah. It's not anywhere. It's not on my website. It's just, it's all lowercase, if you don't mind, because I think for some reason, if you put the uppercase E, it's not connecting. So, I just did it. I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm not suggesting anything. It's just, if you're interested in my story and how I did it, because one of the things I've noticed in this genre, and I'm sure you notice as well, Jay, we have a lot of AAA personalities, and those AAA personalities overdo a lot of things, and some of those things are good for us and some of those things aren't so good for us, and so if any of you are at that crossroads or thinking maybe you need to make a lifestyle change and would just be interested in my personal story, I'll tell you, for better or for worse, what I did and how I thought about it and how I got there. It's scarier than you think at first. I mean, changing how you've been all your life is a scary thing. So anyways, I talk about it there if you're interested.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, Mitch. I read the book. It's a fascinating story. And I have got some friends that have gone down that path. And one thing I heard them saying is they end up having all this extra time on their hands, particularly if they're used to blacking out every night, right? Yeah. And it's like, so it's like they'll, I hear them saying, what am I going to do with my time? What am I going to do with my time? So what did you find doing with your time when you were like totally clean?
Well, that almost sunk me, because I had planned for what I was going to put in my hand. I had planned to replace some habits, but I didn't plan for 30 or 40 extra hours a week. I had no idea. I had no idea. I was very highly functional. I didn't fall down when I drank. I didn't get DWIs. I drank for 40 years, almost every day, towards the last half of that. Not falling over, but just always sipping, always, like you might have a glass of tea in your hand. I had a bourbon and soda, and it just got to be too much one day, and I decided to make some changes. And so I went to the gym, but that only took up about, a few hours of that 40 hours and a week, so I started studying diet and how to, really make some progress in the gym. And I thought, well, that's a huge subject. I could jump into that and try to study some of those keto diets and all that stuff. And I got in there and got interested, and I let that occupy my time. But I also, I'm coming out with my fourth book now, The Art of Private Lending, and I have a fifth book that's about 3/4 of the way done. So, one thing about entrepreneurs, it won't take them long to figure out how to fill up their time.
For sure. Well, I tell you what, there's one thing we're not going to be for very long, and that's bored, right? Right. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, Mitch. So tell everybody, what does your business look like today? You got a long history. You bought thousands of houses, but in today's economy, with what we got going on, what does your business look like now?
Well, I've bought a house about every 4 to 5 days for over 2 decades. And, it's about 100 houses a year. And I want to be really clear on something. I know right across the street, there's somebody doing 5 times that amount. I mean, there's always a faster gun. There's always a, bigger guy out there. I'm just saying where I'm at. That's where I'm at. And I've been at that level for a long time. It's a comfortable place for me. I don't want to do more than that. It's a challenge these days to do 100 houses. In COVID, we only did 83, but there was a point in time there I didn't know if I was going to break 40. No one knew what was really going to happen. So I buy houses with OPM, other people's money, private money. One of the things that Jay teaches, I have $26 million of private money, and it didn't happen overnight. It happened over a couple of decades. And it's amazing what happens when you borrow money from people and you pay them back as you promised. They give you more, and then they give you some more. Then they introduce you to your friends that have more than they had. And then, it just kind of keeps ratcheting up. So in fact, I had so much private money that I had to start a private hard money loan company to keep it all out, because, just because you got access to a lot of money doesn't mean you go out and start making stupid deals. So I keep my underwriting the same. And then if I can't buy enough houses under that underwriting, then I loan it out to my competitors who found deals before me that are 50 cents, 60 cents on the dollar, and I'll finance them. And I keep that money occupied on short-term, notes, so that it's available for me if and when I'm ready. And if I'm not ready, it's out working, and I'm helping my private lenders make a return on their money. My money that I borrow is it's non-recourse, collateral only, wrappable, which means I can buy the house for $50,000 from a private lender. I use the private lender's money. And then I can seller finance the house for $100,000 with $10,000 down, carry the $90,000 balance at 10% for 30 years, and I don't have to pay the underlying lien off. No, that's hence wrappable. Someone who buys my house owes me $90,000, say they owe me $850 a month, and then they send the payment to me, and then I have to send $350 of that $850 over to my private lender, and I get to keep what's in the middle. But I'm not a landlord; I'm a bank. They're sending me their mortgage payment, and when the air conditioner breaks, it's not my air conditioner because I sold them the house. And so today, with all the glitz and glam and the TV shows and the flip this and flip that, and everybody's a house. If you notice that, everyone's a home investor. I mean, it's like must be the most popular side gig on the planet. So we really had to buckle down and hone the fine art of finding distressed and motivated sellers, and also had to refine the art of moving quickly to get to them, and also had to open up our wheelhouse. It's not just houses anymore. It could be land. We can buy land and owner finance raw land to people that want to put something on it, which is what I look for. I don't want to just finance a bunch of land, because in the event there's a debacle and I get the land back and maybe it's tight or economic times, that land's not moving, then it's a little hard to make raw land produce an income. So I owner finance my land only to people who want to put improvements on it now, and they're putting their improvements on top of my collateral, so that if I ever get the property back, it's worth a lot more, and or I can rent it or put someone in it to make an income because there's improvements on it now. Hopefully enough improvements that I can collect some rent. And then mobile homes and land. I've always taken a left into the mobile homes when the recessions hit or when the competition for houses got big. So I know mobile homes very well, and mobile homes and land offer a great opportunity, especially if you're in a culture, say like the Hispanic culture, who values an acre or two over a postage size stamp, residential lot. And of course, these things are outside the city limits, out in the outer parts of the county, if not just outside the county, where there's very little restrictions and you can do what you want. Because a lot of these people that want these half-acre, three-quarter acre places, they want goats, chickens, sheep, burros, cows, horses, Shetlands. They want all kinds of things, and they don't want some HOA telling them what they can do. So if you drive through my portfolio from house to house to house, parts of it look like a third world country, but hey, the payments are coming in and these people got stuff to eat. So if you don't think they have something to eat, just look in their front yard. There's animals walking around everywhere.
So, Mitch, what is your criteria for deciding if a deal is a deal?
I don't like to pay over 65% of what I can own or finance a house for. And so the owner finance value, and I may have coined this, the OFV. I don't think I'd ever heard that before. Maybe it was around, but if it was out there, I didn't know. I call it the OFV, the owner finance value, just like you have the ARV and the Mayo. Now we have the OFV. The OFV is a value unto itself. It's based on the rents. And we find the rents in the neighborhood, and the object of my seller financing business is to find properties that I can seller finance or owner finance to my buyer. And the PITIS payment is about equal to whatever they're paying in rent for a house across the street. The separator being, do you have a down payment of 10% or more? Because I don't take less than 10%. And do I like you? And if those two things line up, then you have a real chance to get into one of my houses for about the same as you're paying rent. And I average 4 days on the market. I was averaging 9 days, and then after COVID, now it's like I average 4 days, and I put no signs in my yards anymore. I don't even have to put a sign in the front yard. I function completely signless now.
So how do potential owner-financed buyers of your homes find out about them?
Well, for a long time, I would put 20 bandit signs around the neighborhood of the house that I had for sale. So I put 20 signs around the neighborhood. And then I put a sign in the front yard. And then they would call a LiveCom phone number, which I have a software company called livecom.com, LIVECOMM.com. And you buy phone numbers there that have a text distribution list attached to it. And if anybody calls that phone number from their cell phone number, then their cell phone number is captured by the system and put in the text distribution list. So here I have, 10 or 15 houses for sale. I got 20 signs around the neighborhood and one in the front yard. And when they call through LiveCom, you set up a recording that tells them everything about the house and trains them how to buy your house. You're going to need a $2,000 non-refundable portion of your down payment at the time you fill out the app. And it just coaches them how we do it and about that particular house. But we're capturing all those phone numbers. So right now, I have 10,000 people on that list that are interested in a seller financed home, and they want to know the next time I have a new house come into inventory. That coupled with, we send text messages to them telling them to go over to our Facebook business page where they can see the homes2go.net houses and all the inventory. They can meet the salesperson. We again drill into them what they need to do if they're going to buy our houses. And it's amazing because by the time people come to look at the houses, actually we tell them they got to go look at the house on their own. And if they're still interested, walk around the house, look through the windows, check out the neighborhood. And if you definitely have X down and you're definitely interested in this house from what you've seen so far, then call the number in the back window. So the only people that call my salesmen have followed instructions and have done, they've showed that they really want a house. Because I'm seller financing people for 30 years. I don't want customers who maybe want a house or kind of sort of want a house. I want people that really want a house. So show me you really want a house, do what I say, and call that red phone number in the back window. And, I invented LiveCom because I was getting 50, 60, 70 calls a day on the weekend. And my salespeople were just getting worn out, and they were giving out misinformation, and they weren't answering the phone after noon, and it was just too much. So now the system delivers all the information about the house, tells them how to get qualified for the house, and then tells them what to do if they really want the house. Like, go look at it, load your family up in the car, and go walk around, look through the windows, and check out the neighborhood. And if you still want this house, and call that number in the backyard. So I got 10,000 people now, and about every quarter I'll send out. I can text these people for 2 cents per person. That's a direct hit. They've already raised their hand and said, I like your product. So for 2 cents, I can say, hey, I got another house. Click on this link and check it out. Or go over, now we drive them over to my business page. Go over to facebook.com/Casas Dueño a Dueño SA And I only advertise in Spanish, by the way. I have no English ads. Everyone in my organization is bilingual but me. And, you know, I text every quarter saying, if you're no longer interested in the house, get off this list by you know, sending the word stop back, texting the word stop back to me. And I still have 10,000 people. So whenever I have new inventory, I just send out that link to 10,000 people, and within 4 days, I've decided on someone and have a contract.
That's amazing, Mitch. It sounds like you sort of figured that process out the hard way.
Well, everything's from necessity. I mean, my whole life, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and anybody who knows me will tell you, and I really don't score well. On it. But I have an aversion to pain, and I seek pleasure. So whenever I would do something in my business that hurt me, I would try to figure out how to stop that from happening. And then when I found something that felt good in my business, I would try to figure out how to multiply that, you know, how to exaggerate that. How do we make that happen more often? That was fun. That was great. I got a big check, or I got a check. So over 27 years, you kind of figure out what you do. And then on top of that, I didn't invent this stuff by myself. I mean, it's a lot of conversations with smart people like Jay Conner or Ron LeGrand or somebody. We get in rooms and we decide how to fix problems, you know, in think tanks. You know, if you read my book, My Life in 1,000 Houses, Failing Forward to Financial Freedom, you know, there was a day when the phone was $1,800 a month. My cell phone bill was $1,800 a month. Well, we figured out how to beat that. It became the San Antonio Real Estate Investors Association, or SAREA, and it ended up having 830 people. But that group started because we all met one day to try to figure out how to beat our phone bills. And we did figure it out. But no one person figured it out. It was a guy at that end of the table said something that bounced off this guy. And he said, well, what if you did this? And another guy said, yeah, that's good, but you can't do it like that. You need to do it like this. And then we morphed our way in to a system that cut our phone bills down to $600 a month.
I hear you. Well, in fact, you just mentioned one of your books. I've got your book on finding deals. So how can people get your books, Mitch? Because I tell you, your books are phenomenal on finding deals and everything you've written.
Just about everything in my life can be found, with the exception of that 1000houses.com/enough. That's just kind of a private thing I sent out because it really doesn't have anything to do with real estate. But anything about my investment career, my whole life, is at 1000houses.com. You see my podcast. I just opened up a YouTube channel I'm putting out 10 minutes worth of valuable content every working day for the next year. You can get that at 1000houses.com/YouTube. But all of this stuff can be found over at my website, 1000houses.com. There's more about me than you'll ever want to know. And there's tons of free stuff. You know, some of the gurus out there say, they lambaste me, say I'm giving away too much. I say, you know, I'll give away. I'll tell you how to do everything. You're still going to be better off getting a coach because you can't assimilate it all. There's too much information, but I'll tell you everything I know. So if you go there on the homepage and scroll up and down, there's mountains of free stuff. Mountains. Yeah,
you mentioned coaching. Have you got a coach, Mitch?
Absolutely. I'm in a mastermind and have a coach all the time. You know, I try to go through life like this. I got a hand down, trying to help people to get to my level. Hopefully they go past my level. But then I got a hand up because I'm trying to get to the next level from wherever I'm at. And as you well know, Jay, there is always another level, isn't there?
Absolutely. Now, in today's economy and business and everything, are you rehabbing any of these houses? Or are you selling most of them as is, or what?
It's a big question because, you know, I'm in the self-storage business and the semi-truck storage business. That's what I do with the money I make from houses. In the house business, people think that I don't rehab houses, which is a misnomer. I do rehab houses because you have to keep a crew busy at all times. So my crew's always working on 1 or 2 houses. But the other 13 houses are for sale as is until my crew can get to them. The greatest strategy of all time in the real estate investing industry is buy it, don't fix it, seller finance it to someone who wants to fix it, and watch them go over budget fixing up your collateral as they make payments every month. It's the greatest plan in the whole wide world. I mean, where's all the time in a real estate investment? It's in the rehab. Where's all the risk in a real estate house flipping business? It's the risk is all in the rehab when they do their rehabs. Everyone else is a liar. Everyone else is lying. If you didn't raise your hand, you're lying. I mean, I've been doing it for 27 years. I can't hit a budget to save my butt. The only way it works is if I like triple my budget, then I can say I came under. You know?
Hey, look, Murphy lives in every house, and Murphy's cousins and Murphy's grandparents and Murphy's sisters and brothers and aunts and uncles.
Yeah, I have fed all of them for years. I keep them in the money, man. I keep the Murphys are well kept care of by the Stephen family.
Oh, mercy. Well, Mitch, one thing I was so excited about, I had you as a expert guest speaker at one of my recent mastermind meetings of a mastermind that I run. And our topic that we talked about was your favorite ways today to find deals, find motivated sellers. I'm assuming most of your houses that you buy are off market and they're not in the multiple listing service. Is that right?
Well, they couldn't be, because right now the market's so hot that if you list something, if you have time and you can list something and you can wait for 60 days for a closing, you're getting top dollar or multiple offers above the asking price. I mean, I just talked to someone the other day, $30,000 over listing price on a, $305,000 house. I mean, I've heard stories of people getting an extra 70 or 100 grand. Haven't really seen that myself, but I know it's out there. It makes sense. So I have to deal where there's chaos. We have to deal where there is no time, where people, it's either now or never. It's today or they're going to get nothing, or there's some circumstances or something brewing or something happening. So we just live in the chaos. Wherever there's chaos, there's opportunity, and we live where there's chaos.
What is your best consistent source of seller lead flow today?
Well, it's the past due property taxes, because it's a big list. We live in a town that's a little over 2 million people, and there's a lot of people past due on property taxes, which is just the first hint that there might be a problem. And then once we get that list, we start looking for problems on top of problems, you know what I mean? And start elevating the chances that the person that we're looking at is really going to be motivated. There's behind in taxes, and then there's behind in taxes out of state. Behind in taxes out of county, and behind in taxes out of state, and then behind in taxes out of the country. And then there's behind in taxes and they're getting, property code violation judgments put on them. There's all these filters you can put through, and less people fall into the bucket every time you add a filter to these lists. But the potential of that customer that does fall in the bucket is much higher.
Absolutely. Well, listen, folks, this is a no-brainer. You want to get on over to www.1000houses, and that's the number, www.1000houses.com, and absorb and digest Mitch's information. He's got a phenomenal years of experience on doing this business. And Mitch, I am sorry to say we're near the end of the show here, so parting comments, my friend.
Well, I specialize in seller financing my buyers and using private money to buy my houses. But I've done adverse possession. I've done subject twos. I've done all of them, because you pay money for these leads, and sometimes they're not the kind of lead you want, as it turns out, but you still have to find a way to capitalize. So I've done wholesaling and hoteling and all that. But I owner finance about 70% of my properties. I retail about 27%, and I wholesale about 3% of my properties. And, I have only 3 different levels of coaching. I'm not a mill house. It's all over there at 1000houses.com. You can see what I have to offer. And if you're the kind of person that's figured out, you're going to pay the street or you're going to pay a coach. It doesn't matter how much they put in the book. It doesn't matter how much they give away, or they can give you everything they have. Until they become routine to you, you're going to make mistakes if you don't have a coach with you. And so you're either going to pay the street or you're going to pay a coach. And paying a coach is a lot less stressful, and is probably a lot cheaper. I know that my education from the street, and I like to tell people I graduated from La Calle U, that's the street in Spanish. It cost me a friggin' fortune, more than Harvard, and it's, you know, it still charges me when I make mistakes. So always find the right coach when it's time, and it'll save you a lot of money.
That's for sure. Mitch, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you so much, my friend. I really do.
All right. I appreciate you having me on, Jay, as always.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Another episode of Real Estate Investing with Jay Conner. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, wishing you all the best. And here's to taking your real estate investing business to the next level. I'll see you on the next show, Real Estate Investing with Jay Conner.